Letters from Augusta Bruin to her husband Luther. A Civil War Diary. Letter 1. My dearest Luther, we had a letter from Howard yesterday. He was still in camp near LaGrange, well and seemingly quite happy. He said nothing about his position, and not one word about Mr. Comley. His letters are very affectionate and quite satisfactory. I find that Jeremy has been very kind to him. When he was trying to raise his company, Jared gave him a check for $200 to aid him. Howard says the brigade is commanded by Colonel Fuller of the 27th. General Ross commands the division, and General Hamilton the Army Corps, and General Grant the department. Mother says Howard had his tent near the courthouse when he was trying to raise his company. One day, Craighead came along and called out, "Well, Lieutenant, how are you getting along?" Now he knew very well that he was not succeeding at all. Moreover, he couldn't be a colonel himself, although he wished to be. So Howard replied, "Well, Colonel, not at all well," and stopped further bandage. Is the Army of the Potomac going into the winter quarters? Do tell me any interesting news you know, for these papers have next to nothing in them. You did not tell me what officers left with Captain Arnold. I have my doubts about the propriety of sending orders immediately to a subordinate officer. Still, as the War Department saw fit to do it in your case, I was glad that it did so in Captain Arnold's also. Now, dearest, I will leave you for the night and try to go to the office early in the morning. I hope to find a letter from you, and will leave the last page to answer any questions you may ask. All send love, and Father says he'll soon write and tell you the values of Chinese razors. Remember me to the friends at the fort and also to Emma. Tell her I will bring Robbie back as soon as it's safe for him to travel. I enclose the 10-cent note, which you may be able to use in New York. If you can enclose me some of the new stamps, it will be a great convenience, as they are next to none here. Oh, how I wish I could say a real good night. Love and kisses, dearest, from us all, Augusta. Letter 2 from Augusta. Dayton, Ohio, to Luther Bruin, 1861, March 3rd. My morning work is done, and I want not to write to you, dearest husband, but I scarcely know that I can, for all 3 little ones already been to me. Robbie twice with his baby complaints, and here he is again. Frank too. Robbie says you have gone to Wash, which is the nearest he can come to Washington. I did not feel like going to bed immediately Friday night, so I fought off the cry right bravely and then read the daily paper. Then to bed and slept softly, but felt on waking as if I had sustained some great loss. Breakfast was rather lonely, but I went to work as soon as it was over, having first dressed Robbie for a run in the yard. Charlie Blangingham came over and spent an hour very happily with the children. Stella says that when she was taking her miniature over to her aunt, she showed it to Mrs. V, who showed it to Charlie, whereupon the young man kissed it. Fervent lover truly. Afternoon. As I expected, I was constantly interrupted and had to give up writing. Robbie is asleep now, but will soon wake, then goodbye to my pen again. I very much fear you will be disappointed on Wednesday, for it is raining now and looks as if it would tomorrow, so that I may be prevented from putting this in the office in time. Ruthie Brady spent the afternoon with Stella yesterday, and Mother packed her and us in the buggy in the evening and took her home. There I saw Sister and Mary, but I learned nothing of importance to communicate. The right and good cup of tea relieved me of a bad headache, against which I had battled all afternoon, and delighted the children, of course. Ruthie was greatly pleased with her short, and observed that our whole family was in the carriage with the exception of Uncle Luther. Of course, you would not have thanked me for wishing you there too, in the crowded state of the vehicle, but perhaps you won't object to me having wished that you were at home awaiting us. It is no use to try to live apart. I should have tried to follow you, I suppose, if you are ever wicked enough to go out west ever. I do not know why, but I believe there is mutual attraction. In spite of my fears concerning my very limited book knowledge, I am behind you. in everything I believe. I cannot give up the hope that I may yet find the time with help to read and think. This weary fussing unfits me at present for anything of the kind. Robbie misses you as well as the other children. Yesterday he saw the dinner table ready and ran to the window to look for Papa immediately. I always tell him to wait till you come home, and then he shall go to the table. Today he called for you quite loudly, evidently thinking you are some way off, but not understanding the distance of Wash from Dayton. Sella says tell you to write her a letter, which I think would be a good idea, especially if directed to her. Be sure, however, to enclose one to me at the same time, as I am not willing to give up my place entirely, but will put up with a few lines only on that occasion. Frank says tell you that he is a good boy, which is more or less true. The poor child did not get his pipe till today. Uncle Howard forgot it yesterday. There is Rob. Mama. Now, my dearest, you can expect any news from me. As Howard says, you must furnish all the news, and very anxiously we shall look for it from day to day during your absence. I can but tell you of our good health with such additions as the little ones can furnish by their odd little sayings and doings. I am sorry now that I took so large a sheet, as you will naturally look to have it filled. I must stop right now, dear love. From all of us, dear Papa, goodbye, darling. I earnestly hope you may soon return to your loving wife, Augusta. Letter number 3 from Augusta to Luther, March the 6th, 1861. Dear Luther, Mary brought me your letter an hour ago. Of course, we were all glad to hear from you. Sella was somewhat disappointed, as she thought it was an answer to mine, and she expected to hear something about the letter she asked for. Frank said, "Is it mine, Papa?" and jumped and laughed, on my assuring him that you had written the document. He seems to expect a letter too, which you must bear in mind. Aunt Anne gave Stella and Frank some maple candy yesterday, which they divided with Robbie and me. It would have been very liberal had I permitted it. Suddenly Frank exclaimed he was going to save the rest of it for you until you came home. I asked him if he wanted to give it to you, and he said yes. He consented, however, to eat it himself, when I told him how long you would probably be away. Robbie still talks about you. He goes out and rings the doorbell and calls out Papa. I am at a loss to understand why, as you never ring the bell, yet he has done it every day since you left. Mother received a letter from Father this morning, but I have not yet heard what he said. Mr. Phillips has just returned from Defiance and says that Father does not expect to be at home for 2 weeks. I was interrupted here by a call from Luther Brady and David Corwin. They brought the papers, no letters, merely a notice from the Living Age office, giving you notice that your subscription was about to expire and asking you to renew it. I had a pleasant visit from young men, being particularly pleased with the manner in which David conducted himself. They said all were well at both houses. A letter had been received this morning from Mr. Corwin. I went down to Father's after they left and got his letter. He seemed very anxious about the appointment and says he wishes someone would be in Washington to see the business. David says his father thinks nothing will be done for several weeks. It seems a very long wait for it and you, but of course we cannot expect anything else, for although great a matter for us, it seems small to those in authority. Belle Burroughs left at midnight on Monday with Mr. Vancy, leaving all the Judge Holt's very sad indeed. Mrs. Holtz says that they bore it very well till the next morning at breakfast, when the judge broke down completely, which I suppose brought down all the rest. Frank told Sella at dinner that he liked meat now, from which he deduced the ideas that he is a man now and Mama's little husband. Uncle John says he has nothing special to tell you. All is going well here, and he has put your name in the paper as a candidate for re-election. I will cut out an editorial frame from this morning's journal in regard to Chase's appointment. Mr. C is trying to get on the right side of him now that there is no hope of keeping him out of the cabinet. Write often, my dearest. I am too busy to be melancholy, but you are almost constantly in my thoughts, and I shall look almost every day for a letter. The children send much love, and I want to know what I have told you about them. Goodbye, dear husband, Augusta.